the mayor of Rome, Jackie Izzo. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
You are, in full disclosure, hired by your campaign to do commercials, as I was in your last campaign. Can you believe it? You had me back. I can't even believe it.
You want to learn. Give you one more chance, Bill.
So let's start with last night. Those storms, not all of Oneida County got hit, but Rome certainly did.
We did. We got hit pretty hard last night. And, of course, we're a large city, so we had damage in the inside and the outside districts. We had some roads that actually had to be closed because of down trees, down power lines, cutting out the primary power lines. I think this morning we've got a lot of people back with power, but there are still some that are out.
Yeah.
We called in crews from our DPW last night to start clean up. Our fire department did a great job of identifying all the areas and clearing roadways. And our police department, of course, everybody was busy.
Yeah.
So
when you say a big city, I've always heard that in terms of geography, Rome is the second largest.
We're 72 square miles.
Second largest in New York State. Second in New York City.
And so what happens is in a storm like this, we're stretched to the limit because that does affect our DPW and our fire department.
Yeah. And you had an announcement on Friday of last week, which was big. Obviously, it's twofold here. Number one, jobs.
Yes.
It's always important. Number two, there seems to be some sort of a relationship between the base and the city of Rome, which is something that you talked about in your last campaign.
We have a great relationship with Edge, and the base property has grown out to the point now that Rome, the city of Rome, it's going to incorporate itself toward Rome. So the Floyd Avenue corridor is really going to grow. We had a significant announcement. Bonaccio Construction from Saratoga Springs is going to do a $20 million mixed-use project, 29,000 square feet of commercial space with 84 market-rate apartments. This project will be unlike anything that we have in Rome, but I think anything we have in the area. They are a great builder. We've been working on this for almost 3 years, and I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. This will be in the area where the Stewarts is, so it's the first time we're going to bring some residential housing to Griffiths. The park is built out to about 6,000 employees now. The biggest problem we're having is that we can't house them. We're not housing the workforce. We aren't offering the type of apartments with the amenities that younger professionals are looking for. So this will begin that process, and as we build out on the Building 240 site, this is the former Building 240 site, we're also looking at Woodhaven, which is more of a neighborhood setting, with the new Y, which is just down the street and on the back side of the Griffiths Park. And then, of course, Booz Allen Hamilton, who's been a long-time contractor with Air Force Research Laboratory. In addition to their 158 jobs that are already in Rome, they're bringing 60 more. And they will spend almost $2 million building out 16,000 square feet of new office space in the NISTEC building that's being constructed now at the corner of Otis near the airport terminal on Griffiths.
So if they're at 6,000, because when the Turning Stone came after the base closure, somewhere in that vicinity.
Right.
But they built to the point where they have 5,000 plus employees. So it really kind of it replaced what was on the base. So the question I would have is, how many of those jobs on the base are basically new jobs versus maybe a company moved from Utica to the base? Or do we have any number on that?
I don't have a number on that today, but the diversification of the base property is probably more important. And yes, some businesses did move from other areas, but that's because they outgrew it. Sovina is a great example of that. Sovina Oil started as East Coast Oil in Utica. They just needed more space. They needed to be on a rail line. It's amazing what goes on in that plant now, and they're bursting at the seams. So we've had lots of companies like that, but we've had new ones move in as well. So AIS is a great success story. Another one that's bursting at the seams.
In the paper OD today, they're focusing in on the drone work that NASA is doing at the base.
Yes.
And that's all about drones and how they relate to traffic and being able to operate inside a city setting. So that's
Exactly.
pretty big state-of-the-art research that's being done there.
Well, we're also looking possibly at doing a research project in the downtown area with the drones where they can actually be in a populated area and run a closed test. So we're talking to them about that now.
Okay.
The drone industry is growing. It's incremental. That's just getting off the ground. But we are seeing some companies now that are actually locating here because of our research facility. NASA's a good example.
Yeah.
They are here often.
Well, this is one of 5 facilities across the country, I think, right?
6.
Is it 6? Okay.
Yeah.
Jim has a question for the mayor. We're talking to Mayor Jackie Izzo. Jim, you're on the radio.
Good morning. What's the status of the General Cable Complex in East Rome, Mayor?
Currently, the property owner, we have her in court. She is under an order to either demolish the buildings or she spends 30 days in jail.
Wow.
And we have executed that order. Right now, she has retained new counsel, and they have companies that are bidding on the asbestos abatement and then the demolition itself. So we are moving as quickly as we can. The courts, it's a slow process, but this is the furthest that we have gotten. We actually had her in handcuffs at one point.
Oh, my goodness.
So she knows we're serious. We need to clean that area up.
Jim, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And that's just a situation of property that's not been.
The property is dangerous.
Yeah.
This woman from Brooklyn has owned this for almost 30 years. This has been going back and forth. I remember back in the Eilenberg administration, we were talking about this. So
What's the issue? She just doesn't want to let it go, or
doesn't want to comply.
Well, it's absentee. This is a big problem we have up here. Downstate landlords, absentee landlords. That they just
Don't wanna
leave these
spend the money
properties.
to-
Well, she's got a plating business that does take part in one part of the complex, but the rest of the complex is falling down. We have posted it for codes. This is not a small problem. We've got a collapsed roof. It's 6 buildings that need to come down.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood is sick and tired of looking at it. I don't blame them, but short-sighted too. If you take it down, we've got people right now that are looking for 10, 20, 50,000 square feet. We can't provide it anywhere in the county. There's an opportunity there because there's been a lot of cleanup done as well. It's an old factory.
Opportunity there for her.
There's an opportunity
Yeah.
for her. So
All right. Anything else you want to touch on? I know you've been active. You got a primary coming up. It's certainly a busy time. And anything else? Because I'll throw one more at you.
no, go ahead.
I want your take on the new primary process and what the state has, and not what the state has done. I was speaking to Joe Griffo yesterday, and he said, you have no idea what's still coming down the pike here. It's
This is created, first of all, this year especially. Normally you should pass a law and wait a year so you can implement it correctly. We literally, it was the Friday before we were filing petitions on Monday. We still had no idea how many signatures we needed because they kept changing the law just for a year, thinking that they're going to help people. It's not a help. What's happened is now we're getting petitions in the worst month of the year, March. People don't want to answer the door. I don't blame them. It's freezing outside.
Yeah.
You're not in that mood. So now we've got a primary that's happening the last week of June, which is graduation. So you're getting ready for high school graduations, for vacation. You're not thinking about voting for anybody.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have to run a campaign and draw attention to this.
And this does not help. It certainly doesn't help incumbents.
No.
But it's even harder on somebody that wants to challenge. I think this could cause more races to be unopposed.
Yes. Well, and that
At least
depends.
this year. At least
right.
this year.
I don't like the idea of public financing of elections, which they are trying to pass down there. I think that brings first of all, people, if they want to donate to an election, that's fine. That's their prerogative. But you shouldn't be forced to have your tax dollars being spent on elections.
And
it's crazy.
because it's your tax dollars that are very well could very well be spent on something that does not represent your values
Exactly.
at all. And the proper way to do it is to give people the opportunity to be able to donate. And you donate to someone that you'd like to see win.
There's nothing wrong with that system as it exists right now.
Right.
The other reform they're talking about that really I think would not level the playing field at all, would make it really very difficult, is same-day registration, same-day voting. So basically you could fill a bus with people, bring them to a polling place. They could register on site and vote.
Right.
How would you? That's not what the democracy was intended to do. So I think that one's dangerous, very, very dangerous, of all of them. As far as this, they're talking about the presidential primary next year being before the state primary. So we're going to have all of these primary dates, general election dates. People are going to be very confused. And they're all happening at a time upstate when the weather is not very cooperative, especially for the presidential. But I don't know. We're going to see June, to me.
Yeah.
You know, in Rome, we know how many voters actually vote in primaries, and those numbers are normally very low. This could be worse.
Yeah, you have no idea what to expect. Quickly, in 30 seconds, what have you done to help the school district? It's a real serious problem.
We worked a lot with the school district. I'm glad the budget passed. There are some structural issues that were addressed in that budget. We certainly don't like to see anyone laid off or lose a job, but some decisions had to be made. There wasn't the best amount of state aid there. I do agree with the school superintendent. The foundation aid, nobody can explain it.
Right.
No one knows from one school district to the next how it's allocated.
It's Groundhog Day. We argue about it and complain about it every year, the same problem year after year.
Every year.
Yeah.
So, if they just started at zero, everybody got the same amount of money, and then you went from there, but that's not how it works. We have a great school district, and unfortunately, they're having some growing pains this year. And the other thing, too, is with the 2% tax cap, the state now expects that if you don't raise taxes to the 2%, well, that you left money on the table. So now they've got this. Now there's another layer here.
Look what Downsville's dealing with. They just had their budget voted down. They had to go to 4% just to maintain what they currently have.
Well, we did too, and with some cuts. But I guess they're telling us that in years past, you could have raised it 1%. But people, when you raise taxes, it's very tough. They don't understand that logic, and I don't blame them.
Right.
So I think we're going to start righting the ship here, and the school district, I hope next year will be in a better position at budget time.
Mayor Jackie Izzo, City of Rome, we appreciate your time, and we'll do it again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.